Gotta love, gotta love the state of Texas this time of year.
Yep, allergy season all around. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Michelle Morris, and I am with Consolidated Planning Group. This topic is one of my favorites and one of the most well-attended topics that we offer, Government Benefits 101. There's going to be a lot of great information. And it's going to come at you quick, but don't worry because we do send a link to the recording. We record all of our videos, all of our webinars, and we put them on our YouTube channel. So after we're finished, you're going to be able to go back and look at the YouTube channel again, watch the video. You're also going to get the slides. So you'll have all of this information in your email later on today, whatever email address that you used to register for the webinar. The other thing that I want to let you know is that because we're in webinar mode, I cannot see or hear anybody, which is good because my ears are so clogged up from allergies, I can barely hear anything anyway. But if you put your comments and questions in the chat box, that's the easiest way for me to present the information and refer to the chat at the same time. And I'll get as many of your questions answered as I possibly can. So before I get going, I would like to welcome Mike Livingston. Did I say that right? With the Misty Carroll.
Yes,
And I want you
yes,
to tell
ma'am.
us a little bit about the Misty Carroll Project. And who is this picture of?
This is my father and sister, so that's Misty Carroll right there, who the entire program is is based behind.
Oh,
Yeah, the Misty Carroll Project. I started this, really had no idea what I was doing when I started it, but it's something I'd kind of felt my family has been based around. We've had special needs in our heart for a long time. My wife worked with SPED for 10 years. We've kept autistic children over the summer for a while. We've done we've been involved for a long time, but my sister was born my right after Vietnam. A lot of the guys that went to Vietnam that came back, they'd been exposed to Agent Orange, different things. So a lot of them had special needs children when they returned. Unfortunately, my sister passed when she was 3 years old. She was born with some Down syndrome and some heart defects. I actually never met her, so it was interesting that I'd had this in my heart and on my mind for a while, and then I had a dream, and my little sister came to me in this dream, who I'd never met, and she just said, "Little brother, it's time to go to work." And that was kind of that
that's
that kick in the butt for me. And she said, "All right, here we go." And then all of a sudden people started falling into place. So it was like running through the woods blind, and all of a sudden people started shining flashlights. So the Misty
wow.
Carroll Project was born. As it goes, I run a wealth management group, but this thing started falling into play. What we really, the whole point of the Misty Carroll Project, I started to find that a lot of the families in the area, they feel like they're alone. They don't really know a lot of the other families. There's not that much information out there for them, and information changes rapidly. Today's topic is one we get a lot of questions on, so I'm really excited about it. But what we do is really we're trying to build a grassroots effort to build this community around us. In a small town like Wimberley, we do not have a lot of resources for the families who have special needs individuals. So we're going to try to build this community through information, allowing them to gather. We're going to start some dinner nights in conjunction with the Barnabas Connection and Schoolyard Dogs. There's another group out here. They actually take special needs individuals, teach them, how to run, how to cook. My wife's actually helping prep today. And then they set up here in Wembley and they do hot dogs, especially hot dogs. Anyone who's had them, if you're ever through Wembley, find them. They're fantastic. But yeah, so we're really just trying to build the community here, provide, on the website, we're really trying to build a website that's a one-stop shop for people to find information. We're posting, of course, the webinars from your group.
Oh, thank you.
So if people have questions on things, we get a lot of on this topic today is huge. Guardianship's another one. There's a ton of topics that are out there that people just don't even know where to start. So
Right.
the point in this Carol project is one, to build our community here through grassroots effort, just finding each other, letting them gather, letting them find a sense of community, share their successes, their failures. Just know that there are other families that have been through it and have fought through the same things. Share those battles, help each other through them. And then secondly, know that there's one spot that we can go to and start to guide them to where different information is. What help is out there? What grants are out there? You know,
Absolutely.
and to build the website, I was shocked that there wasn't one place to really find all that out. So that's really what we're aiming to build. And the best way to do that is to find out what the families need. What are they looking for? So the best way to do that is to gather them and ask them, what do you
Yeah.
need? What is important to you guys? So this is the way to start it. And this is one of the biggest topics we hear all the time. So we're really excited to hear what you're going to present today and get this information on our website as well. So
Fantastic. Thank you so much for hosting us today. I really look forward to checking in, hopefully the next time I go through Wimberley. Here is all of the contact information for the Misty Carroll Project. And like I said, you will receive these slides later on today, so you're going to get this information and be able to keep in touch with Mike and the Misty Carroll Project. Anything else you
we,
have to share with us, Mike?
we're just really grateful to be here with you guys today. I mean, it's like I said, we've been blessed to get to where we are. We're looking forward to the future of what we can build here in this community and what we might be able to share with other small communities that don't have the resources as well. Maybe we could be, we're hoping to just be a guide for what other small communities could do.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I love that grassroots effort. I love that so much. So here at Consolidated Planning Group, we're a small independent firm. Our entire firm has 9 people. There's 4 financial advisors and 5, I call them my ops team. Uh, some people might say staff, but they're my operations guys. They take care of all the stuff behind the scenes. So we are located just outside of Houston in the Sugar Land area, and we've been in financial services for about 30 years. Now, when the owner of our company, Allison Scaberg, and her husband, they've got 4 kids all together, and 2 of them have disabilities. So when she was going through all of these government benefits and learning about disabilities for her own children, she realized, wait a minute, I'm a financial advisor. I should know this stuff. Why is it so difficult? And she decided at that moment that she was going to take her company and use it as a platform to be able to advocate for parents and to educate parents on what they need to be doing. So, of course, we can do anything that any traditional financial advisor does, like securities and investments and life insurance and retirement planning. But what we do is we focus on planning for your special individual and for their care and their future. It's not just about planning for you for the rest of your life, but also planning for your loved one for the rest of their life. So we have won some industry awards, but we're also, more important to you, we are members of the Special Needs Planning Academy. We are nationally certified Social Security advisors, and I am a chartered special needs consultant through the American College of Financial Services. Almost all of the clients that we have an individual in their life with some kind of intellectual, mental, or developmental disability. And we are really here to focus on that. Now, even though we're based in the Houston area, we work all across the country. We started off saying all across Texas, but then as some of our clients started to move out of Texas, we just go ahead and go with them and make sure that our licensing is available in all states. So it doesn't matter if you know somebody in any state across the United States, we can help them. So families come to us for things like protection plans, thinking about the what ifs in life and how we can protect you, lifetime care planning for yourselves and for your children, transition planning. Oh, transition planning is big because there are 3 or 4 major periods of time when your kids are gonna go through a big transition. That is when they turn 18 and they transition from a minor to an adult in the eyes of the law, when they graduate from high school and all of a sudden they're out of high school and what comes next? That's another big transition period. And then the transition from mom and dad's house to where they're going to live for the rest of their lives, and the transition time when mom and dad pass away, and how to help make that as smooth as possible, even as they go through the heartbreak of that. We can help set up ABLE accounts and help people understand how to use them versus the special needs trust, or more appropriately, I should say, in conjunction with the special needs trust. And we do talk about benefits, state and federal, and things like that. Again, we are here to advocate for you and to educate you. In one webinar, I misspoke and I said we're here to educate for you, but that's not really that bad of a word. I mean, we kind of do educate for you if that were a word. And one thing I want you to keep in mind is that there are over 263,000 financial advisors in the United States, according to the Census Labor Bureau of Labor Statistics, whatever it is. Um, but fewer than 200 firms focus on special needs planning the way we do. So that's less than a tenth of a percent of all the financial advisors in the US who truly focus on the nuances, the laws, the regulations, and understand what you need to do for your kids. So let's start off with one big question that we get all the time. What is the difference between SSDI and SSI? So these are two different government programs that your children should be entitled to. Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI. We're going to talk about that one first. Sometimes they call it SSDI. Sometimes they call it DAC, Disabled Adult Child. That was the name of it for like 40 years, and some people still call it that. But now they've been calling it CDB, Childhood Disability Benefits. All of these are based on the parent's work record. So this is through the Disability Trust Fund that these SSDI benefits get paid. And it's because the parent pays into Social Security all of those years you've been working and the government takes out Social Security. That's where SSDI money comes from. So it pays any disabled individuals who cannot work, regardless of what income they have, what their resources are, as long as their parents have worked. So later on in life, when you turn on your Social Security retirement benefits as a parent, your child will be able to draw from your record. We're going to get into this a little deeper, but first I just want to clarify the difference between these two. So SSI, that stands for Supplemental Security Income. And that is what your child should be able to get based on the fact that they have a disability. Most kids cannot get SSI until they're 18 because when your child is a minor, they're going to look at the parents' income and assets to see if the child qualifies. And in general, parents make too much money for their children to qualify. However, when they turn 18, then they're going to look at the child's assets and income, and they will be able to qualify as long as they meet the criteria. So the payments for SSI come from general tax revenues. It is a needs-based assisted program. So you have to have low income and very low assets. You can't, if you cannot work, that's why they pay. So the benefits are for children and adults who are in financial need. For example, the asset limit is $2,000. They can only have $2,000 in their bank account. They can have money elsewhere, and we'll get into that. But that asset limit is really why most kids won't get SSI benefits until they turn 18. I do see a quick question. Will you be discussing spousal benefits available when one parent retires? Yes, Matthew, we'll get into that. Okay, so here's kind of the timeline of how these benefits work. So when your child is diagnosed, hopefully you're going to get on the waiting list for these waiver programs as soon as possible. You want to call your local intellectual and developmental disability authority. That's what LIDA stands for. Or you want to go to yourtexasbenefits.com, and we'll talk more about that, and get on that waiting list. These waiting lists can be incredibly long here in the state of Texas, up to 20 years. So get on that wait list. Then when they turn 18, they should qualify for SSI benefits. Maybe they'll qualify beforehand, but typically it's not until age 18. Now, when they qualify for SSI, it comes along with Medicaid, so they'll be able to get both. Then they'll be on their SSI in theory for several years, and then mom and dad are going to turn on their Social Security retirement benefits when they're in their late 60s. And that's when your child will switch from SSI to SSDI. They're going to leave SSI aside. They're going to get SSDI. It should be more money. And after they are on SSDI for 2 years, they will get Medicare, and they don't lose Medicaid. So they will be dual eligible for Medicaid and Medicare at that point. Now, for both SSDI and SSI, there has to be a physical or mental impairment, and it has to be checked out by the Social Security Administration. You have to be deemed disabled under the eyes of Social Security. This disability has to last more than 12 months, or it has to result in death. They do take into consideration your age, education, and any past work activity. And they're looking for an inability to perform substantial work activity. So the way that they measure that substantial work activity is by how much money you can earn. So in 2025, that substantial gainful activity amount is $1,620 a month. So if your child is earning $1,620 a month or more, they are not going to qualify for SSI benefits. If they are earning, but it's less than $1,620, they will get those benefits, but they will be reduced. Now, if your child is also blind, they are able to make more money, $2,700 a month. In the 2-year waiting period for Medicare, so we're talking about when your child switches from SSI to SSDI, after 2 years, they'll get Medicare. They do not lose Medicaid ever, not even during that, not during that waiting time, not when they get Medicare. They are able to keep both Medicaid and Medicare. Okay, so, oops, I did not update this slide, but the numbers are correct. $967 a month is the maximum benefit for 2025. If you have a married couple where both of the individuals have disabilities, the amount that they get is not doubled, unfortunately. Now, the amount that they would be able to get is $1,450 a month. I don't know why. You can contact your representatives and congressmen and let them know if you think that that's unfair. But those are the benefit rates for 2025, even though the slide says 2024. Now, how does the Social Security Department decide if your child is disabled? They use what they call the Blue Book. You can go to this link and look up the Blue Book. You want to look up any diagnosis that your child has, and it will tell you exactly what you have to show to say that your child is disabled. So maybe your child has an intellectual disability. They're going to say in the Blue Book that your child has to have an IQ of 70 or below, or 75 with an additional diagnosis. Um, so then what you want to do is you want to look at your doctor's records and your school records and any records that you could send into the Social Security Department as evidence. And you want to make sure that you have proof that your child's IQ is below 70 or 75 with another disability. So that's how you can use the Blue Book to help you determine whether or not your child is going to get that designation. The entire SSA.gov website is here as well, and they do a good job of explaining things. These links will be clickable later on when you receive the slides. And if any of these links do not work or they don't go where they're intended to go, please let me know so I can get that fixed. Okay, so what do you apply for and when do you apply for it? Like I said, most kids are not going to get SSI until they turn 18 because the Social Security Administration up to that point is going to look at the parent's income and assets. So if you as a parent make more than $1,620 a month, or if you have more than two, or if you're married, it's $3,000 in the bank. If you have more than one house or one car, you're not going to qualify for SSI benefits. Now, when your child turns 18, they don't look at mom and dad's anymore. They only look at the child's income and assets. So you can have a little bit more control over where your child has money, how much money they have, and how much money they are earning. So when your child turns 18, you're going to want to go online and apply for their SSI benefits. You have to wait until like the day after they turn 18, okay? Because if you do it the day before they turn 18, it doesn't count. So log into this website. You're going to set up a profile and start the application. Even if it takes 6 or 9 or 12 months for them to start sending you checks, they will backdate your application and your payments to that day you started your application. So that's a really important reason to get started on that the very minute after your child is 18. You want to have that evidence, that proof that they qualify for these benefits, that they qualify as being disabled. They're gonna want to know like your doctor's contact information, address, phone numbers, any doctors that your children are currently seeing. And they're going to want to know diagnosis history, what medications your kids are on, if they have a bank account, because remember, bank account assets are considered. So they're going to want to see 3 months of bank statements. And income is also considered. So if your child is working, they want to see 3 months of pay stubs. And you might even want to, this might be a little bit extra, but some of us are a little extra. You might want to consider talking with your child's primary care physician and seeing if you can get a copy of those records before you apply so that you can see if all the evidence is in there. And actually, that's a really good tip for anyone because when your child turns 18, it's very possible that their doctor is not going to want to talk to you anymore. So while your child is still 17, ask your doctor for a copy of those records and just get them so that you have them before the doctor won't talk to you anymore when they turn 18. Um, Old records are acceptable. They generally like to have things updated every 3 to 5-ish years. But if your child hasn't needed to see a doctor for any reason, um, as long as they are able to get the medical history that shows the proof that they need to see, you should be just fine. Thank you for that question, Carrie. So when you apply for these benefits, it generally takes up to 6 months and sometimes even longer for you to get a response. What they do, and you know, it's complicated dealing with any government office, right? But Social Security, we've been hearing that some of the offices are closing, some of them are condensing into like regional offices, and some of that staff is being cut. So really doing the application process online is going to be your best bet. But what they do, sometimes they'll fill out an application for both SSI and SSDI at the same time. And we've been hearing that parents are getting a letter almost immediately that says, no, you're denied. You don't get SSDI. And hopefully now you know you don't want SSDI yet. That's not what you're asking for. You're asking for SSI. So once they gather your file together, and they send it off to Austin to the Disability Determination Service. Those are the people who are going to look through the doctor's records. They're going to look through your school records. They're going to look through everything you send in and make sure that your child qualifies for benefits. After they review that, then is when you're going to get your answer. So you can call the Disability Determination Service and ask if they've received your file, if they have everything that they need, and who is, in charge of helping you and if they have any questions. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Texas interest list. We are going to get into that, so I'll get back to that question. And can we get a copy? Yes. Everybody who has registered for today's webinar is going to get a link to the presentation on our YouTube channel, and you're also going to receive the slides. So there are some things that are presumptive disabilities. What this means is if your child has certain diagnoses, the Social Security Administration kind of knows that that's one that's going to be passed through, that's going to be okay. You're going to be qualified a little bit quicker and easier. They call it a compassionate allowance. And they can even make this determination at the local office instead of waiting until they send everything out to Austin. So it's a better likelihood that you're going to be approved and more quickly if you have a presumptive disability. So this list will tell you all of the things on that, the things that they consider. But some of those are like if you're amputated at the hip, you have a leg gone, or if you're totally deaf or totally blind, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, and intellectual disability, and remember that's IQ of 70 or below. Just all of these things are on that list, and then there is more. So plenty of information there. So if your child has had a stroke and it's been more than 3 months and they still have difficulty in walking or using their hands or arms, things like that. So what if your child is able to work a little bit, but not more than the substantial gainful amount? Remember, that was $1,620 a month. So let's pretend your child gets a job and they're making maybe $1,200 a month. Cool. They're still going to get some SSI benefit, but it will be reduced. And this little math equation shows you how they're going to reduce that. So you can plug in your child's gross monthly income there. You're going to subtract $85 in exclusions. Then you're going to divide the number that you get by 2. So in this instance, $1,200 minus the $85 leaves you with $1,115. Divide that by 2 and you get $557.50. And then you subtract that amount from the total amount that is available during that calendar year, which is 967 this year. And you can see that this child earning $1,200 a month would still get $409.50 in SSI benefits, and they would still get their Medicaid. If your child is working and they are able to get even just $1 from SSI, then they would still get Medicaid. However, if they don't get any SSI, then they will not get Medicaid from from that benefit. So this is another exclusion that's available. You have to ask for it. They're never going to say, oh, by the way, is your child, I see that your child is working. Are they still in school? They're never going to offer this to you. But if you ask, there's an exclusion where if your child is working and still regularly attending school, then they are going to be able to earn a little bit more before their SSI amount gets reduced. The Red Book. We've already talked about the Blue Book, which is where they tell you about what qualifies you as being disabled. The Red Book is a reference guide that talks about work and employment related provisions. So if you have questions about work and how the work relates to the child's Social Security, you can look that up in the Red Book. Now, child support. We know that divorce rates are very high here in America as it is, but divorce rates in the disability community are way, way higher. So if child support is a thing in your life, you can get child support that continues beyond your child's 18th birthday because of the disability. What we want you to know is that when your child turns 18, that child support will be counted as income for your child. So parents need to understand that the child support needs to go into a first-party special needs trust for the benefit of the child. Your divorce attorney should be able to modify your divorce decree. It should not be a huge problem. Now, you might have to also contact an attorney who is well-versed in special needs topics, who knows what a first-party special needs trust is. But as long as both parties agree, it's usually not that big of a deal. And what you're going to do is, instead of paying the child support to your child and having it count as income, you're going to put it into that first-party special needs trust. All right, I see a question in the chat box. Two of them. Carl wants to know, is this being recorded? Yes, you're going to get a recording and you're going to get the slides. Jason wants to know, what do we charge for rent and how do we let Social Security know if we raise the rent? Well, when you're getting Social Security after you've applied and all of that, you've got your portal. And you can go online into that portal and let them know that that you're raising the rent, or let them know that your child got a job or lost their job, or whatever issues might be coming up. Veronica wants to know if the child support could go into a third-party special needs trust. And the answer is no, because the first-party trust is for money that belongs to your child. And that would be child support. That would be things like if there was a medical malpractice settlement, that money belongs to your child. If grandma and grandpa accidentally leave money straight to your child instead of leaving it to the trust, it would have to go into a first-party trust. And with the first-party trust, there is a Medicaid reimbursement clause, which says that after your child passes away, if there's money left in that trust, Medicaid can come back and claim reimbursement. So if Medicaid has given your children any benefits or care throughout their life, they can come back. Now, it's not that big of a deal. You just spend the first-party trust money first, and then work on the third-party trust money. Okay, so it's not the end of the world. It's just not ideal. So let's talk about that SSDI benefit. And again, some people call it RSDI or DAC or childhood disability benefits or whatever. It's all the same thing. Your child has to be 18 years of age or older. They have to have a disability that started before they turned 22 years old. The parent has to be an insured worker. Your child cannot be married. Uh-oh. That's the second time there's a disadvantage to our children getting married. And your child cannot have previously performed enough work to hit that substantial gainful activity limit for, I think it's 9 months. So if your child works for 9 months after above that 1620, they're going to start getting their own Social Security record, and they're not going to be able to draw off the parents anymore. Regarding raising the rent, do we inform through the portal or SSA reporting app, or that's the same thing? Same thing. Is the clawback applies to California as well? Someone says that if you live in California, that state does not have the Medicaid clawback. I can look into that for you, definitely. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but we can definitely help you with that. So once the parent turns on their Social Security, their retirement benefit, and the child switches from SSI to SSDI, they're going to get about half of the amount that the parent gets. So let's say you turn on your Social Security and you're getting $4,000 a month for your retirement benefit. Your child will start getting $2,000 a month, which clearly is way more than SSI at $967 a month. So this is great. This is a great benefit. 24 months, if your child is over 18, and they're receiving those benefits, they are going to be eligible for Medicare. And then, like I said, they'll have their Medicaid still in place, and they will be able to have Medicare. Now, when you parents pass away, your child's benefit is going to go from 50% up to 75% of your benefit. So if you were getting 4,000 and your child was getting 2, now your child is going to get a raise up to $3,000 a month, and they will receive that benefit for the rest of their life. Now, if you have other people drawing on that same record, for example, there are spousal benefits. Your spouse can get a benefit if they haven't turned on their Social Security yet. There's also a child in care benefit, which is kind of the same as the spousal benefit, but and then there's, the thought, what if you have more than one child with a disability? You have 2 or 3 children drawing off of one parent's record. You can butt up against the family maximum. This number is hard to figure out. There are all kinds of calculations behind the scenes, but just beware that there is a family maximum. Now, for SSDI, there is no longer an income limit or asset limit, but you still want your child to stay on the waiver programs through Medicaid, and you still have to be cognizant of the Medicaid limits. So even though your child might get off of SSI and they don't have to follow those rules about their income and assets anymore, they still have to follow the rules for Medicaid. And those Medicaid limits is still $2,000 in assets. So, and the limit on income for Medicaid is higher, but there is still a limit. It is 300% of whatever the SSI benefit amount is. So that would be $967. That's the full SSI benefit times 3 equals $2,901 a month. Okay. All right. So all of these benefits are great, and these are going to really help your child throughout the rest of their life to have a lot of their care taken care of, or help pay for a lot of their care. So it is so, so important that you protect those benefits and make sure that you don't lose them. So, what do you do? What happens if your child has, they're getting $967 a month into their bank account, but they're only allowed to have 2,000. So what happens as they start to gather that money and they're not spending it all? Well, you have to make sure that your child's assets are in the right buckets. And that's things like a special needs trust and an ABLE account. Those are the two places where your child can have money that does not count against them for their benefits. So make sure that if you leave your child money, or if any other family member wants to leave money to your child, it's not, hey, I'm going to leave my life insurance to little Johnny. It's, I am going to leave my life insurance to the third party trust for the benefit of little Johnny, third party special needs trust. Um, if they do it incorrectly, we can put it into a first party trust. But like I said, that has that Medicaid reimbursement clause, and that is not ideal. So it's way better to set it up correctly ahead of time. And that's why you need to work with attorneys and financial planners who understand and who know how to set this stuff up correctly from the beginning. Because once you mess it up, you could end up paying more to fix it than you would have spent in the first place. We're going to get into ABLE accounts next, but I want to check the chat box and just see that if I've got all the questions answered. Let's see. Yes, you're getting this webinar. Thank you, Mike, for posting the slides on your website. Just put it in the portal for SSI information. Okay, it looks like I'm on track. Somebody wants to know about Part B, Medicaid, and Social Security. Yeah, Carl, you're going to have to get into your Social Security portal, and we can help you figure out what's going on with that. Asset limit. What if a married couple with disabled 22-year-old? Okay, so Jason, there are certain circumstances where maybe your child is a minor and the parent dies. They are able to get childhood benefits. It's not disability benefits. It's benefits because your child is a minor and the parent has died. You can get benefits for your child from that. So let's say your child is 12 and a parent passes away and they start getting SSDI or RSDI, survivors benefits, basically. That's great. But when your child turns 18, all of a sudden they're not a minor anymore. So that benefit is going to stop. And that's actually good because when that benefit stops, we want you to pause everything, apply for that SSI and Medicaid, lock in SSI and Medicaid, and then you can switch back over to SSDI. And the reason for that is because if you skip that step and you don't get your child Medicaid, you could, by skipping it and going back onto SSDI, and then they'll get Medicare after 2 years, you could lock them out of getting Medicaid. So be very careful with that. And in that situation, you're probably going to have to go into an actual brick and mortar Social Security office to get that figured out. Okay. Another question, if both parents are receiving their Social Security and one passes away, does the benefit adjust to the child? So your child can follow whichever parent has the highest benefit. So let's say I turn on my benefits first. I want my child under my benefit because I did it first, right? But then after 3 more years, my husband turns on his benefits. If they're higher, you can switch your child to follow the higher benefit. And there's no problem with that. And then when the parent dies, the child would stay with the higher benefit and get that higher amount. If my wife is eligible for the child in care spousal benefit and draws it before reaching her full retirement age, is the amount that she receives reduced? So the amount that anyone receives is based on your work record, not on theirs, right? So I don't think that her benefit would be reduced. It would just be based on your full retirement age. We do have a software that runs a Social Security maximization for you. And what that does is it tells you exactly when you should turn on your Social Security benefits and which parent the child should follow so that your family gets the most benefit that you possibly can. Because most people think, oh, if I wait until I'm 70, then that's going to be the biggest benefit that my family can get. And for most families without kids who have any disabilities, that's true. But for your families, with all the additional benefits that you can get, it's actually sometimes better for you to turn on that Social Security even earlier. Okay. So just realized what time it is. So let's get back to the slides. And if you have questions that I don't get into, you can call me after or email me or set up your appointment with me. So ABLE accounts. An ABLE account is a place, it's a tax advantaged savings account for your children as long as they have a disability that started before age 26. And they're going to change that at the end of this year. So if you missed that window, don't worry, you can come back. The beneficiary owns the account and anybody can put money into it. Your child can have one ABLE account. And what happens is you put money into the ABLE account and that money goes to purchase mutual funds. Those funds generally grow income, and the income that it earns is not taxed. So not only does it have the benefit that it's not going to count against their SSI or Medicaid limits, but also it will grow tax-free. You can use the ABLE account to pay for anything that will help your child achieve a better living experience. That's what ABLE stands for, achieving a better living experience. So if you can say, my child needed a vacation, they needed a car, computer, clothing, medical needs, financial services, you can pay for anything with the ABLE account. Now, there is a limit on how much you can put in each year. This year, you can put in $19,000. Each year, that number is going to be whatever the annual gift tax exclusion is. So if you're, looking at taxes and you see the gift tax exclusion is up to $20,000, then you're going to know you can put 20 into your ABLE account. But for this year, it's just 19. Now, you never want your ABLE account to go above $100,000. That will disqualify you from SSI benefits. If your child's working, they can put additional money into their ABLE account. And it is tax-free investments. The thing is, with the ABLE account, it has that same rule as the first party trust, that same Medicaid reimbursement clause. So if there's money left in the ABLE account when your child passes away, Medicaid can claim that money as well. So what we suggest is that you use the ABLE account until the child switches over to SSDI, and then you can kind of spend out the money from ABLE, and then work on spending out the money from the first party trust, and then go to the third party trust. Now, there are over 50 different ABLE accounts all across the United States. Almost every state has their own program for an ABLE account. You do not have to live in most states to be able to use their ABLE account. So for us, we open ABLE accounts every day for our clients. We use the Virginia ABLE America account. We like it because they've got great customer service. They've got a great track record. They are through American Funds, which is a company that's been doing this for years and years and years. And you can actually call and get somebody who knows what they're talking about. So if you would like for Consolidated Planning Group to open up your ABLE account for you, we do that for our clients at no charge, and we can take care of it for you. ABLE accounts can pay for, I see this question, It can pay for housing. It can pay for financial management. It can pay for utilities. You can get cash. You can pay for food, anything that your child needs, and it does not disrupt your SSI payments. Now, the difference is if you use money from your special needs trust to pay for these items, it will cause a disruption to your SSI benefits. And that's why I said you should wait to use the money that's in your special needs trust until you're on SSDI instead of SSI. Then you don't have to remember what those rules are because they won't apply to you anymore. But if you use your special needs trust to pay for rent, mortgage payments, utilities, homeowners insurance, gas, electric, cash, or food, you're going to be penalized in your SSI payment. Okay. Again, if you wait to use your special needs trust until you're off of SSI, that rule doesn't matter anymore. The other thing about the special needs trust is that you can put as much money into it as you want. So the special needs trust, as much money, but limited on what you can use it for. The ABLE account, limited how much money, but you can use it for anything. It's really good to have both because they work together. The ABLE account kind of works like my savings account. I have a savings account and a checking account at my bank. When I have too much money in my checking account, I put it over into my savings account. So your child could do the same thing. When their checking account is reaching that $2,000 limit, you can just move some over into the ABLE account. And then when your child wants to purchase maybe something a little bit larger, you can pull money from the ABLE into their checking, purchase that item, and as long as it is back out of their account within the same calendar month, as long as it is out of their account in the same calendar month, it won't count against their SSI benefits. There is no age. You don't have to be 18 plus to have an ABLE account. You can open it up at any time, but it's really the power of the ABLE account comes when the child is 18 and you can use it to get that $2,000 limit met. Okay. So think about what you want for your child's future. What is going to happen after high school? There are great residential, educational, and great vocational options for your child to check out. You don't want them to graduate to a couch. And you don't necessarily want to just assume that a sibling is going to be able or willing to step in the future and take care of your loved one. It can cause friction on both sides of that equation. So just be careful. I'm going to kind of skip through these. You know, we do these webinars all the time. You can see what our upcoming webinars are. You can pre-register for them and get reminders. I'm going to leave this screen up while I get back to as many questions as I can in the next 6 minutes. I want you to schedule your free consultation. I want to meet with you and give you the opportunity to pick my brain. Any questions that you have, I can answer those. We do ask you to fill out a short questionnaire about your family before the consultation. And then it's over Zoom. It usually takes like 30 to 45 minutes. And guess what? You get to ask me anything. I'm going to help you as much as I can. I'm going to learn about you and your family. Or it might be my husband. It might be Allison. One of the advisors on our team is going to meet with you. And then once we answer your questions, we will go into how we work and what we do and what we charge for our services. And then, you know, we can decide if it's a good idea for us to go forward and set up a planning package for you and your family. Also, this page has our links. You can use the QR code to schedule your consultation, or you can call or email the office. Or you can call or email me directly and I can set up your appointment. So now, back to the questions. I think I'm going to work backwards. So I mentioned a scenario talking about $967 times 3 is 2901. So that amount of money that's the Medicaid income limit, 2,901. So for Medicaid, you can make more money. You still have the $2,000 asset limit, but the income limit is higher. That's if you're off of SSI, you don't need to worry about that limit anymore. Does the ABLE account have a debit card? Well, like I said, there are over 50 different plans. Some do and some do not. Personally, for me, I think it's easier just to use your bank account and only have that one debit card for your bank account and have the ABLE account money come in and through the bank account. Because if you ever get audited, that's me knocking on wood. If you ever get audited, you can just turn over your child's bank account record and say, here you go. Everything in this account has come from ABLE, or it has been my child's money. It has been spent on my child. It has gone to either their ABLE, or maybe we set it aside in their special needs trust. But you can have one record that is neat and clean and easy. Now, your bank account that your child has, it can have your name on it as well. Just keep your money out of it. Do not mix your money and your child's money in that bank account, because then you'll have to be like, oh, okay, well, they want to see, oh, well, that HEB trip, that was me, so I got to cross that out. And oh, this trip to, oh, that was me, I got to just keep it easy and simple for yourself. Is there an age limit when you can open? I already answered that one. You can open the ABLE account anytime. We can open it for you, or you can go online and open one for yourself. There is a website. If you just Google compare state ABLE accounts, where you could pull up 3 different ABLE accounts and compare, does it have a debit card? What are their fees? What are the rules? The one that we use, again, is through Virginia, and it's called ABLE America. There are 2 in Virginia, so don't look at the ABLE Now one. We use ABLE America, okay? Does the child's SSDI or SSI affect the parent's SSI benefits or SNAP benefits? It should not. The children's benefits, if they're a minor, will be based on the parents, but the parents' benefits are just based on themselves. And then once the child turns 18, it will only be based on themselves. Do we need to report earnings from the ABLE account anywhere? You will probably get a form for your taxes to say that you have an ABLE account and that it has earned income, but that income is not taxable. So even if you have to report it, it doesn't matter. In the case of having 2 special needs children, can one child be under one parent benefit and the other child on the other parent's benefits? So that probably you're asking so that you don't hit the family maximum. We would look into that for you. I would want to run your numbers and make sure. The software that we have is proprietary. It is not commercially available. But we charge, if you only wanted to do the Social Security maximization, that's the smallest package we offer. And the price for that, I think, is very reasonable, because when we come back to you and tell you when to turn on your Social Security benefits, we've been able to get people tens of thousands of extra dollars in benefits by following that maximization analysis. So why don't you go ahead and set a meeting with us, and I'll be happy to go over that information with you. If the parents are divorced and one parent has no Social Security, can the child still get benefits? Yes. So your children can get benefits based off of biological mother or father, or step mother or father, or if they are adopted, they can take benefits, Social Security benefits, from their adoptive parents. So some kids have 4 adults to choose from. Whoever has the biggest benefit is the parent they would follow. Let's see. Once you get SSI, are there rules about spending down the amount? Um, and do you have to keep records? Really, SSI money is your money. They want you to use it for housing and food, daily living expenses. And if you show them that you're spending it on daily living, like rent, you should tell your Social Security Administration that your child is paying rent. We usually say about $500 a month. Move that money from your child's account into your account to show the paper trail. And then they give you that's how you can really maximize that and get that $967. I think I'm good. Yeah, I think I'm great. I think I've got all the questions, but listen, if I've missed anybody's questions, I am literally right here. Or you can email me. That's a little bit better since my ears are full of like soup, it feels like. Just send me a quick email. I'm happy to answer your questions. I'm happy to have a free consultation with you. And I really appreciate all of you for being here with me for this hour, and especially Mike and everything you guys are doing up there in Wimberley. I love that idea of this grassroots effort so much. Um, and I know I've gone a little bit over time, but I'm here for you. I know that Mike would love to hear from you if you have any questions about his program. Um,
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having us. I mean, there's so much information. This could go on for 4 hours, I'm sure.
I know. I could talk forever about this stuff, but I just don't have the time. So um, sign up for more of our webinars. Give me a call or email. I hope to hear from you soon, and I hope that you all have a great, great week. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks a lot, Mike.